Alright, you and I are diving into a wild story about a guy waking up with a splitting headache, thinking he has work only to freeze at his reflection. That face is not his at all, and looking up, he sees a massive white tree floating in the sky. Right then, he knows things are seriously messed up. A mysterious entity appears, congratulating him on the summoning and offering him exactly 3 wishes. Panic kicks in, but then realization hits him. He is in another world, thinking he is an overpowered isekai protagonist with a cheat code. Getting bold, he decides his first wish should be asking for 10 more wishes. A total genius move, at least in his own head. The floating book gets excited. It immediately senses this soul does not belong to the body, revealing its true form as a grotesque demon. It casually explains that it devoured the original owner. Jones suddenly realizes he landed in the wrong world, in the absolute wrong body. The moment he tries backing out, the demon snaps its fingers and sets his body ablaze. Just thinking about breaking the deal triggers eternal agony. His screams echo through the empty streets, while the demon mocks him for being completely pathetic. It is ready to end everything. But pay attention here, Joe Chen uses his corporate mindset to find a loophole. He argues that this does not count as breaching their contract, since the demon is physically preventing him from fulfilling his end. The demon pauses, genuinely intrigued. Zhao Chen even claims that if forceful possession were truly possible, it would have happened already. He insists this was merely a test of willpower that he passed, making the demon burst into laughter. It admits no mortal has ever tried negotiating like this, so it offers him a brand new deal. If Dao Chen fulfills just 1 wish, he gets a fresh start. But the demon immediately hijacks the first wish for itself, demanding 1,000 more. It coldly reminds him that he is practically dead anyway. Left with zero choice, Zhou Chen agrees, signing the contract with his soul on the line to seal the pact. Next morning, he drags himself to his trashy apartment, looking like he got beaten half to death. The demon is gone, leaving him to face reality alone. Inside, he stumbles upon a blood-signed debt note. The situation at home is way worse than he ever imagined. Suddenly, a harsh voice screams behind him as a heavy metal bat smashes directly into the back of his head. The thug yells about his ignored calls while his partner warns him not to commit murder, mentioning the kid might actually be a dangerous oracle. Dizzy and furious, Zhou Chen demands to know who these trash bags are. The answer is a brutal kick straight to his chest. The blonde thug demands his mother's whereabouts, insulting her for working herself to death just to pay her deadbeat son's debts. He calls her utterly useless, spitting that both mother and son are a complete waste of oxygen. The insults cut deep. You and I can see his painful childhood memories rushing back as his anger boils. Back then, he even had a terrifying nightmare that she died from exhaustion, trying to support his dreams. He asked what would happen if he never awakened as an oracle, but she smiled, telling him she would stand by his side even if the world collapsed. She told him to always believe in himself. Back in the present, something inside him snaps. Zhao Chen stands up, throwing a lightning-fast fist directly into the blonde's face and launching him across the room. Once the dust clears, the thug's face is completely shattered. The other two stare at Zhao Chen, sensing an incredibly dangerous shift in his aura. It is like he just unlocked a massive power-up in real time. Giving them a chilling look, he tells them to shut their filthy mouths. Even so, the thugs decide it is time to teach this E-rank weakling a lesson. If they have to break his legs to put him in his place, they will. Juchan realizes they are talking about his E-rank level, and figures they are ranked higher. One goon swings a metal pipe straight for his skull, but to him, the attack moves in slow motion. He casually dodges, reappearing right behind the gorilla-like thug to land a brutal knee directly to his face, launching him across the room like paper. The next thug charges from behind, thinking there is no way a lowly E-rank can move this fast. He aims a heavy blow at Zhu Chen's ribs, completely sure the kid will not see it coming. But instead, a savage roundhouse kick caves in the thug's own ribcage, sending him flying back like absolute garbage, left completely unable to process how he got destroyed. Absolutely terrified, the thug begs for mercy, crying that they only came under Linu's orders to collect the debt. Hearing this, Zhao Chen coldly tells them to let their boss know his money is coming, so he better back off and stay out of his way. The shivering goons jump to their feet and sprint out the door, not even daring to look back. Once it is finally quiet, Zhou Chen asks if the demon is still around. The demon is shocked this amateur sensed him, telling him to be grateful for the help. Trust me, you and I need to see what comes next. Alright, you and I are jumping right in as an excited Zhou Chen starts calling him boss, saying this power makes him invincible. But that instantly triggers Goldfinger, who warns this dumb mortal that wielding that level of power would literally erase his entire existence. so Zhou Chen asks how his boss expects to grant wishes if he cannot even handle the power himself. The demon simply smiles, saying they will both grow stronger through rewards. But for now, he needs to stop using that power so recklessly. Feeling disappointed, Zhou Chen holds back, while Goldfinger secretly marvels at how naturally the kid controlled that massive energy earlier. It honestly makes the demon wonder if Zhou Chen is somehow linked to a long-lost partner, though he keeps that mystery to himself. When Zhou Chen asks what his second wish should be, the demon casually shrugs and tells him to forget about it and just live his life. Yeah, that does not help. Zhou Chen sighs, realizing he knows absolutely nothing about this world, and this new body might be completely useless after all. Now pay attention here, because everything changes. He grabs a thug's phone to investigate his life, only to find 0 messages from his own family. But then he opens a text from his sister and completely freezes. She was begging him to hurry because their mother just fell into a coma. Bursting into the hospital room, he spots a girl who must be his sister, crying and hunched over their mother's quiet bed. The air is incredibly heavy, which makes total sense considering how he ignored her in the past. And looking down at the sick woman, her actual condition is way worse than any warm memory he holds. Overwhelmed with guilt, he quietly apologizes for being late and asks how their mother is holding up. But his sister just laughs with cold rage, mocking all his stupid past excuses about training martial arts and summoning demons. She completely snaps, screaming that their mother collapsed from pure exhaustion, struggling to pay off his massive debts, almost dying because they did not have money for basic medical bills. After venting all her built-up pain, she hands him a card covering 6 months of expenses, telling him she is handling their mother alone. When he asks what she means, she coldly tells him that he is dead to her. That sentence hurts more than any punch. Leaving the hospital, Goldfinger feels his heavy grief and asks why a fragile human girl's words could break him so easily. The demon points out that he was not the one who caused this drama. I know what you are thinking. But Zhou Chen remembers his own painful past mistakes, making the boss laugh and tell him to focus on their grand plan. When Zhou Chen asks if becoming stronger will solve all his problems, Goldfinger promises that once he proves his absolute worth, every obstacle will vanish. Armed with this killer motivation, he dives straight into a brutal training arc. Meanwhile, inside a loud nightclub, Linu orders his secretary to speed up their operations, because high-end clients will not wait forever. The secretary reports that some random student just destroyed 3 of their seasoned fighters, and Linu instantly remembers his boys tried to collect cash early, completely ruining his business reputation. The true issue is that this student crushed fighters ranked much higher than him, which should be physically impossible for anyone. Linu grabs the official file containing Zhou Chen's profile, concluding that this kid is hiding some serious power, and demands his assistant track his every single move. Back outside, Zhou Chen goes out for a morning run, where a friendly old neighbor pitches him a cheap deal on workout supplements. Noticing how energetic the kid is, the old-timer jokes that he must have scored a new girlfriend, clueless that Zhou Chen is actually adjusting to his upgraded body, training day and night to grow stronger. Through research, he discovers that powered humans are called oracles, and his body's past owner went broke buying insanely expensive booster supplements. Even so, after a few days of intense physical training and basic pills, he is rapidly building muscles and cannot find his limit. Right as he ponders this, his cheap phone rings, and when he picks it up, an incredibly furious voice screams that he completely forgot to report back to school, like their teacher ordered. Hearing that, he realizes he totally ghosted them. The following day at class, Zhou Chen finally learns how this world's ranking system functions. There are 6 distinct ranks from A down to E, and you must completely max your current level before climbing higher, which takes absolute dedication because the power gap between tiers is downright terrifying. Society is split into 5 zones, with E- ranks and average nobodies trapped on the outside, while D rank and above live like kings. Realizing he is currently bottom-tier trash, Zhou Chen decides he must climb the ladder immediately and secure a spot in the inner zones. But as he is thinking that, some absolute idiot flicks a booger at his head. Trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next. You and I are starting with this guy's buddy mocking his level 1 status, claiming they could easily trash him because he looks pathetic. Irritated by these brainless monkeys, Zhou Chen prepares to strike back, but the teacher suddenly arrives and class begins. Later during outdoor training, he stretches and starts thinking school might not be so awful after all. That peaceful vibe lasts exactly 5 seconds before a loud voice calls him out from behind. Moments later, the class loser is absolutely stunned to see Zhou Chen facing down the strongest bully in school. His buddy isn't even shocked, knowing Zhou Chen's temper. The smug bully mocks him, claiming he got way too arrogant just because he gets high scores on written tests, harshly reminding him that real power defines an oracle, and a level 1 is basically garbage. Without hesitation, Zhao Chen retorts that the bully is also level 1, trash instantly triggering the guy to swing a wild, violent hook. But Zhao Chen effortlessly catches the fist, grabs the wrist, and twists it hard, coolly asking if he is finally done talking. The brute can't believe he is losing and wonders if Zhao Chen grew taller. Zhao Chen throws his own cruel words right back at him, mocking his lack of strength. You and I can see the sweat dripping now as Zhao Chen asks to break his face. Right then, their angry coach arrives, demanding to know if Zhao Chen is starting a fight. Instantly switching to a completely innocent act, Zhao Chen fake smiles and claims they were only playing. Snatching his hand back, the bully backs off, while the coach barks a warning and orders everyone to line up for testing. Gathering at the pull-up bars, the coach begins preaching about the glory of the upcoming school tournament. He promises top results will unlock elite academies before shamelessly pitching his expensive power drinks like a cheap salesman. Stepping up first, the bully easily knocks out 50 reps in one go. Zhao Chen watches completely unimpressed, whispering that this feels more like a social media stunt than a test. Just then, the class rep walks over, asking why he ignored her texts for several days. She acts like it's no big deal, but after he reassures her, she asks why he won't buy the coach's expensive supplements. He flatly admits he has no money. She tries to warn him of the danger, but her name is called before she can. She only hits 25 reps before failing. Yet the corrupt coach, remembering her purchase, boosts her score to 35. That's when Zhao Chen realizes the truth. Let's pause here. This system isn't about power at all. It's about paying to survive. When Zhao Chen steps up next, the coach glares at him, well aware this kid hasn't spent a single penny. A nasty smirk spreads across his face, ready to humiliate him. But the moment Zhao Chen grabs the metal bar, something feels wrong. His arms feel like lead, making him realize the wristbands are actually rigged with heavy gravity crystals. Refusing to back down, he pushes through the heavy pressure and begins cranking out smooth, incredibly rapid pull-ups anyway. The entire class watches in total shock as the supposedly weak kid effortlessly destroys everyone's scores. As he flies past 100 reps, they completely lose it, whispering that he must have reached Tier 2 already. Once he drops down, a cheering crowd surrounds him. Meanwhile, the coach stands frozen, wondering if the boy used illegal performance boosters. Panic sets in, as he realizes nobody will buy his overpriced junk if this kid succeeds without it. A wicked grin slowly spreads across his face as he begins plotting a terrible scheme to ruin him. Across town, the principal screams into his phone about canceled tournament spots, arguing his underfunded school can barely survive with only Tier 3 students. The caller cold-heartedly responds that cash is strictly for elite oracles, which is why top academies get all the funding. Slamming the receiver down, the stressed principal facepalms in pure despair, lacking the tools to train a single champion. Suddenly, his eyes lock onto a dark crystal sealed in glass. While desperately plotting a way to save his academy, his thoughts are cut short by the coach yelling from the hallway. Strutting inside, the coach tosses a list on the desk, boasting that these kids are his future star players. The principal checks the page and realizes they are mediocre Tier 1s, even though the coach hypes them like absolute prodigies. Then, the coach casually mentions there is one useless student completely unfit to ever be an oracle. Hooked, the principal demands to know the name. Right then, we find Zhao Chen walking down the hallway with his floating book companion. The magical book sighs and asks what trouble he caused, but Zhao Chen stays quiet, knowing something bad is coming. Are you ready for this? Let's dive into this wild meeting where our main character, Zhao Chen, is already expecting the absolute worst from his shady headmaster. Just as he reaches for the door, literal flames explode right in front of his face, catching him totally off guard and making him stumble. Suddenly, the demon Goldfinger goes wild in his head, shouting, "The special wish has finally appeared," and commands Zhao Chen to snatch the item right this second. Zhao Chen curses his terrible timing. But before he can even react, the headmaster yells from inside, demanding he stop stalling and get in. Zhao Chen steps into the office, politely asking what this is all about. Flipping through the student records, the principal coldly asks what it takes to become an oracle, answering his own question before Zhao Chen can speak. It is all about cold, hard cash. He bluntly tells Zhao Chen to drop out immediately. Training an oracle is insanely expensive, and a broke kid like him stands zero chance of surviving the process. Believing it is best to cut losses early, the headmaster even offers to fully refund his tuition fee to get rid of him. Now watch closely right here as Zhao Chen processes the news. His demon companion spots their crucial mission target, a mysterious black crystal on display. He frantically orders Zhao Chen to steal it, but the boy whispers back that the demon should just take it himself. Goldfinger snaps back that he needs a human vessel to interact with physical objects. Zhao Chen pauses, thinking, if he gets expelled today, his dream of reaching the mid-city zone is dead in the water before it even begins. He remembers that this bottom-tier academy has never produced a student past E2 level, which means even minor breakthroughs are treated like absolute gold here. He asks Goldfinger if he can choose his own reward for this mission. The demon instantly realizes what he's plotting, but before he can argue, Zhao Chen quickly cuts him off and demands the legendary borrow power skill. Goldfinger loses his mind, warning that using such dangerous power could easily destroy his human body. But Zhao Chen stands his ground, arguing that if he gets kicked out now, the demon's wishes are dead too, so they must take the risk. After a tense silence, Goldfinger reluctantly agrees, washing his hands of whatever terrible things happen next. A holographic system panel pops up, offering him the borrowed power skill, and Zhao Chen accepts without a single second of hesitation. The principal interrupts, asking for his final words before the expulsion is finalized, but Zhao Chen firmly demands a re-evaluation of his level first. The principal sighs at the seemingly hopeless plea, but holds out his hand to test him anyway. Upon making contact, he realizes Zhao Chen's physical strength is indeed higher than the academy records indicate. However, it's still not enough to save him. Closing his eyes, Zhao Chen realizes this is his final shot and desperately draws in massive star energy. Suddenly, an overwhelming surge of energy erupts from his body, shocking the principal. Even Goldfinger is left speechless, because the raw power flowing through the boy actually eclipses the energy he lent him. We both love a good face-slapping moment, and the principal is absolutely losing it after this level 4 breakthrough. Gritting his teeth, the principal quickly regains his composure and completely shifts his entire tone. He orders Zhao Chen to represent them in the upcoming tournament. Zhao Chen blinks, completely confused by this sudden change of heart, but quickly connects the dots. The school is desperate for funding, and the headmaster wants to parade him around to prove they can still produce top talent. The man confesses he was weeding out broke students to cut costs, and actually apologizes for dragging Zhao Chen into this whole mess. To make amends, he offers a full scholarship and 6 premium supplement bottles weekly, declaring that the entire academy's future rests on his shoulders. Seeing how desperate the old man is, Zhao Chen seizes the opportunity and demands the black crystal sitting on his shelf. The principal explains that the artifact was carved from a rare black star crystal, representing the school's long history and ultimate pride. Sighing deeply, he admits that if the school goes under, the symbol is useless anyway, so he agrees to hand it over. Zhao Chen confidently promises he will crush the competition and win the entire tournament. When asked how he got so strong overnight, Zhao Chen casually claims he had been hiding his true power all along. The headmaster nearly chokes, assuming masking his power is a genius high-level strategy, and vows to keep his secret safe. A female teacher enters the room, and the principal immediately instructs her to escort Zhao Chen straight to the elite class. During the walk, she notes that the entire second floor is reserved strictly for elite students. She casually asks how he managed to secure such a connection with the boss, but Zhao Chen smoothly brushes it off. And trust me, you'll want to stay tuned because the coach is about to burst in, completely unaware of this insane turn of events. Alright, you and I are jumping right in, as the teacher reveals, Zhao Chen isn't expelled, he's joining the elite class. She adds that the principal is actively looking for him, and the color drains from Tianji's face instantly. Later that night, Zhou Chen drags his exhausted body back to his tiny apartment and collapses onto the bed. Staring up at the ceiling, he wonders how a broke kid like him can maintain level 4 in such a short time. Goldfinger immediately reminds him about the mission, warning that borrowed power won't keep people fooled forever. Zhou Chen admits he already knew that, but at least he scored free supplements and avoided expulsion, so things could be worse. Then he looks down at his phone, remembering his biggest headache is still the mountain of debt hanging over him. If he doesn't come up with a cash scheme soon, all this newfound strength won't mean a thing. By the next morning, he looks completely miserable. Looking around at the dusty, run-down hallway, Joan wonders what kind of total dump he just walked into. The walls look totally abandoned, like nobody has been here in years. Suddenly, someone calls his name. A man waves from a distance with a massive, friendly smile, telling him to come over. They start chatting, and the man apologizes for the delay, explaining he's always buried in class duties. He introduces himself as Teacher Zhang, and Zhao Chan immediately asks if he's actually the only teacher here. Jing scratches his head, admitting the school has seen better days, so he's the sole instructor for this advanced class. He explains they only use the inner section for training, which is why the outer hallways are just collecting dust. As he pushes the door open, get ready, because he promises Zhou Chen that things here are never going to be boring. The moment Joe steps inside, he freezes. The interior is a total contrast to the outside. It looks like a world-class gym, a 5-star fitness facility packed with hyped-up students. Teacher Zhang explains everyone is currently doing self-training and offers to introduce him around. While Zhou Chen looks around impressed, he catches students throwing sideways glances. Sensing the curiosity, the teacher calls everyone over to introduce the newcomer. Zhou Chen bows politely, greeting his new classmates respectfully, but a smirking, red-haired guy in the back crosses his arms and immediately starts trouble. He mocks Zhou Chen, telling him to drop the act and admit he used back doors to get in. Teacher Zhang snaps, telling him to show some respect because Zhou Chen earned his spot. The redhead is absolutely not convinced. Narrowing his eyes like he just spotted easy prey, he suddenly challenges Zhou Chen to a fight. The other students immediately light up with excitement. A duel? Rumors start spreading like wildfire. A blonde student in the back asks what the commotion is, and a pink-haired girl tells him a fight is brewing. That instantly hooks his interest, and he starts asking around about this random transfer student. Back in the center, Teacher Zhang quietly tells Jockin to refuse, but Jockin accepts without a single second of hesitation. He calmly agrees to the match, as long as lethal force is off the table. And yeah, I know what you're thinking, the principal is already losing his mind. On the phone, the teacher explains that Zhou Chen willingly accepted Wenha's challenge. Neither fighter backs down. They stand face to face, unleashing a heavy, intense aura. The principal finds this strange, but assumes Zhou Chen just wants to test his limits, so he approves the arena duel. Later, both students stand opposite each other as teacher. Xiang lays down the rules, no interference, and both must fight at the exact same star level. Some students find it hard to believe Zhou Chen is actually an E rank, like Wenhao. The instructor sternly warns them that striking vital points is absolutely forbidden. He emphasizes that lethal force is banned, and retaliation afterward is forbidden. A clean strike to the face or a surrender ends the duel instantly. With a sharp wave of his hand, the match starts as Wenhao charges straight at Zhou Chen, aiming directly for his neck. Zhou Chen doesn't even flinch. He catches the incoming arm smoothly, throwing the redhead completely off balance. Realizing this is no easy match, Wenhao unleashes a relentless barrage of strikes, but Zhou Chen dodges calmly, slipping past with absolute precision. Frustrated, Wenhao shifts tactics and throws a kick. His leg twists midair as he unleashes his signature wind hook kick. Zhou Chen blocks it with his arm, and the redhead grins, thinking victory is already his. But from that exact position, Jockin suddenly fires a sharp counterkick at his neck. Wenhao barely recovers, shocked the guy even knows martial arts. He barely stabilizes himself, realizing his only hope is protecting his face. See you next time. All right. You and I are jumping right back into the action. Just as he turns around, Zhou Chen taps his nose with a smirk, asking if this counts as victory. The entire arena falls dead silent until the teacher finally declares Zhou Chen the winner. Wenhao just stands there completely frozen, unable to believe he actually lost. The other students are just as stunned. Whispers break out everywhere about the transfer student being way stronger than anyone expected. Meanwhile, Zhou Chen feels the fight ended way too fast, but at least he learned something. He calmly asks Wenhao if he has any complaints left. Watching from the sidelines, Coach Thienzi is in absolute disbelief. Wenhao is an elite, with professional training, yet he just got schooled by a total newcomer. He finally realizes why the principal ordered him to give this kid special treatment. Out of nowhere, the principal himself shows up and congratulates Zhou Chen, telling him to follow along because they need to chat. The pink-haired girl is shocked, while the blonde guy claims they absolutely need a monster like him in their crew. The principal asks Zhou Chen if he likes the elite class. He honest-to-God replies that besides the students being way too hyper, there is really nothing special about it. The principal chuckles, telling him he will get used to it because powerful people always draw a crowd. He advises him to just focus on his training, promising the school will do everything to back him up. Now here is where Zhou Chen sees his chance. Sensing the principal finally trusts him, he asks if there is any way to make some fast cash. The principal immediately shuts it down, telling him to focus on training since long-term power brings the real rewards. He even offers to help financially if his family is currently struggling. Zhou Chen quickly waves it off, but deep down, he knows he needs to find a different source of income. Later, while training alone in the gym, he reminds himself to watch his step. The school has brutal rules against student loans, and he absolutely cannot afford another financial disaster right now. While pushing through his training, one massive question keeps haunting him. Where on earth can he secure some fast cash? He is still drowning in debt, and pure power won't pay his bills. Suddenly, the blonde-haired guy pops up and casually compliments his match. He boldly asks who Zhao Chen really is, and Zhao Chen immediately fires the exact same question right back at him. The pink-haired girl sighs, telling the blonde guy, Shen, that he is being incredibly rude again. She apologizes to Zhao Chen and introduces herself as Sha, calling the annoying guy next to her Shen. She explains that they are both his upperclassmen and are happy to guide him if he gets confused about anything. Shen suddenly declares they are a team now, and since he is obviously the leader, he will personally look after Zhao Chen. Then, he asks about that epic combat technique he used against Winho. You and I both know Zhao Chen is built different, but he honestly admits he has no techniques. Shen is shocked. It was pure reflex. He bursts out laughing, saying Winho will lose his mind if he finds out. Sha steps in to explain it properly. Combat techniques are special moves learned from ancient scrolls or memory stones. The more you master them, the more devastating they become. They come in different ranks, and powerful martial artists build their entire style around combining these moves. Shen adds that Winho used a D-rank combat technique called the Gale Hook Kick. Hearing that, Zhao Chen realizes why that kick felt so incredibly heavy and hard to block. If he could learn one of those skills, his power would skyrocket. He asks if they are rare. Shen says it all depends on the rank. The school only teaches basic ones, while high-level techniques must be bought or shared, and they cost an absolute fortune. Right now, a basic D-rank technique costs 500,000. Both Shen and Sha proudly boast they each have one to show him. Zhao Chen immediately realizes these two must be absolutely loaded. If that kind of cash is pocket change to them, a genius idea hits him. Why not just ask them how to make fast money? He quickly explains he needs about 300,000, but he wants to avoid doing anything illegal, like robbing a bank. Shen casually mentions the only way to get fast cash is the Blackwater district. Sha instantly shuts him down, warning him that the school strictly bans students from entering that area. Still, Shen mutters that anything goes when you are in Blackwater. Both of them check their bank accounts when Zhao Chen asks to borrow some cash, but they are completely broke. Despite the danger, Zhao Chen decides he will head straight to the Blackwater district after class. He desperately needs that money. Checking the map, he is surprised to find it is right near his house. He quickly swaps out of his school uniform to hide his identity. He even asks his internal demon, Goldfinger, what he thinks, but gets dead silence. Thankfully, rumors say the outer zones do not have any powerful fighters. At level 4 Oracle Strength, you and I know he is ready. Let's dive into this wild ride. Our guy figures he can handle any fight, or just run. But this area is dead silent. It looks nothing like a legendary miracle zone, but faint footprints on the dirt lead right toward a hidden path. He tracks them carefully, finally stepping into the real miracle zone of Blackwater. It is dirty, chaotic, and crawling with thugs. Now he gets why this place is a secret. There are literally no laws here. Cash is king, and anything goes. For a second, he actually feels hopeful. Maybe he can finally clear his massive debt here. But then, he suddenly stops and calls out the trash stalking him, asking how long they plan to follow. A thug laughs, praising his sharp senses. He was waiting for the right moment to strike, but now, he is just going to beat him down right here in public. The thug boasts that he has seen plenty of rich kids wander in disguised, only to end up as easy prey. Zhao Chen almost laughs because he is dead broke, but the goon warns that since he is an oracle, running is totally useless. If he wants to survive, he needs to hand over his cash. Zhu Chen just sighs and calls him incredibly rude. Then boom, one clean punch knocks the leader out cold. The other two goons lose it and charge him with knives. But before they even get close, massive wooden crates suddenly crush them from above. A mysterious girl grabs Zhu Chen by the hand and yells to run. They bolt to a safe spot. He says thanks, but secretly, he is annoyed because he wanted to interrogate those thugs. Pay attention here. She acts like she already knows him, asking what he is doing in this dump. Then, she suddenly panics, whispering that they need to stay hidden. When Zhu Chen asks if they have met, she panics and points to his collar, claiming she just read his name tag. He looks down and yep, his school ID is right there. He rips it off instantly, thinking he got incredibly lucky she does not actually know him. He never realized his name was fully exposed. He thanks her for the heads up, while she quietly sighs with relief that she did not blow her own cover. She warns him to conceal his identity because this entire zone is extremely dangerous. She offers to guide him safely out of Blackwater. but Zouchen refuses. He is not here for sightseeing. He is here to get paid. Zhao Chen decides it is best to leave. If she realizes he is an academy student, his life is practically over. As he walks away, she watches closely, convinced she definitely knows his real identity. When she grabbed his hand earlier, she felt a strange, surging energy, proving he is already awakened as a powerful oracle. She cannot fathom why a student is here. Meanwhile, Zouchen buys a cheap mask to hide his face from prying eyes. He is still stressing over finding a solid way to make cash when a shady stranger suddenly walks up to him. The man introduces himself as a helpful local guide with all the answers, which immediately sparks Zouchen's interest. And you know what he asks? Straight up, where can a guy make some insanely fast cash? The guide grins widely, thrilled to have another customer, and proudly tells him to follow. He leads him down to a roaring underground arena. When Zouchen asks if this is a literal fight club, the guide nods, saying it is the fastest way to make cash. He explains that the champion takes the prize money plus a massive cut of all the bets. Even oracles throw down here, so the stakes are absolutely massive. After watching the match on stage for a second, Zouchen is confident he can easily win. The guide offers to get him chips, but Zouchen says he will just take his shot at the grand prize. Meanwhile, the mysterious girl sneaks into the club, searching for him. When she spots Zhou Chen standing in the middle of the ring, she freezes in total shock. His opponent acts totally arrogant, bragging that he is a ranked fighter. Zhou Chen drops him with one single punch. The crowd immediately starts booing because every match is ending in one hit. Wasting zero time, Zhao Chen flattens the next two guys just as easily. He wants to wrap this up and get his money. Watching from his VIP booth, the boss is confused. He only let this masked kid fight because he looked weak. A lackey reports that the other fighters surrendered, and angry fans are demanding refunds, claiming the matches are totally rigged. The boss immediately orders a special match. He has zero intention of letting Zhou Chen leave with the bag. After knocking out his final regular opponent, Zhou Chen calmly demands his prize money. Instead, the announcer yells that a special surprise match has been set up to hype the crowd. That is when Joan realizes they never planned to pay him fairly. The guards wheel out a cart with something terrifying chained to it. The announcer introduces the terrifying opponent as the Yifo, also known as the Freak. As they unchain it, the monster drops like a corpse. Trust me, you and I are not ready for this fight. Let's jump in, as this freak suddenly snaps its eyes open with pure malice. In the stands, some chubby guy tries acting tough for his girl, bragging he could one-punch the beast, but he is visibly shaking. The mysterious girl watches with anxiety, knowing Zhao Chen cannot take this monster down easily. Stepping in with her powers would totally blow her cover and ruin her plans. Meanwhile, inside the ring, Zhao Chen feels the instant threat. As their eyes lock, he feels like defenseless prey stared down by a lethal hunter. Every instinct screams at him to run. The beast suddenly lunges forward, aiming directly for a killing blow. Zhao Chen barely dodges, realizing a split second slower meant instant death. This is nothing like his earlier fights. It is time to get dead serious. Backed into a corner by the beast, Zhao Chen knows he must end this fast. Channeling borrowed energy, he boosts his power and slams the monster down with an explosive punch. It lies still for a second. He thinks it is over, but it suddenly lunges again. Dodging by a hair, he is shocked his ultimate move barely did a thing. Retreating fast, he backs away because staying close is a straight-up death sentence. Now keep your eyes on this part as he flees, desperately hunting for any weapon around the arena. Snapping off one of the beast's sharp claws, he slashes its neck like a dagger. It is not fatal, but the playing field finally feels level. Zhao Chen knows he holds the physical advantage. One more close-range opening is all he needs to finish it. Charging in, the beast suddenly vents a massive cloud of hot steam, completely burying the arena in a thick, blinding fog. Masked by the heavy mist, the monster strikes rapidly from all sides. Zhao Chen is completely blind, and the beast is draining his energy. If this drag-out fight goes on, he is dead. Forcing himself to stay calm, he shuts out his vision and relies on sound. Hearing the faintest movement, he finally locks onto the creature's exact position. He catches its arm in the dark and severs it completely, creating the desperate opening he was waiting for. Ready to unleash the final strike, a sudden, sharp pain shoots through his heart. His borrowed power is finally running dry. The beast seizes the moment, slapping the claw weapon from his grip and whipping its tongue out to deliver a lethal, impaling strike. You and I know he is not giving up. He pushes past his limits, borrowing power again. He grabs the incoming tongue mid-air, swinging the beast's massive body over his head. Slamming his hands directly onto its jaws, Zhao Chen lets out a savage roar, channeling his absolute last drop of strength. Muscles bulging and veins popping, he rips the creature completely apart in one brutal, bloody motion, ending its life. The arena falls dead silent. Up in the monitoring room, the watching officials stare at the screens, completely speechless. The boss anxiously asks if the challenger is finally dead, but as the smoke clears, seeing Zhao Chen standing turns his face pale. Up in the stands, the white-haired girl stares, her eyes wide with total shock. Still holding the beast's severed head, Zhao Chen slowly looks directly into the security camera. That cold, murderous glare alone is enough to send shivers down the officials' spines. The boss panics, screaming about the absolute fortune he spent on his champion, only for some masked kid to rip him apart. The announcer quickly recovers his composure, declaring Zhao Chen the winner and directing him backstage to collect his cash prize. Backstage, a briefcase stuffed with cash is slid over. The man explains it contains exactly $500,000. Zhao Chen reaches for the money, but the boss slams the lid shut with a smug grin, claiming the deal has changed. Either Zhao Chen signs a permanent contract to get the full prize, or he walks out with a miserable quarter of it. Zhao Chen slowly narrows his eyes, demanding the man repeat what he just said. The boss yells back, complaining that the other fighters fled, and his star champion just got brutally decapitated in the arena. Zhao Chen calmly replies that this was not the agreement. The rules state fighters are not responsible if an opponent dies. He asks again if those were not the terms. His suffocating, murderous aura instantly drains all the color from the boss's face. He demands the full payment immediately, threatening severe consequences if they refuse. Refusing to be intimidated, the boss pulls a gun, pointing it at his face. Zhao Chen does not even flinch. In one swift motion, he disassembles the gun and snaps the boss's finger like a dry twig. Screaming in pain, the boss orders his guards to shoot. The bodyguards instantly draw their weapons, while Zhao Chen just sighs in deep frustration. Outside, the white-haired girl tenses up as gunshots suddenly ring out. A moment later, a bodyguard crashes right through a glass window onto the street. The crowd thinks it is a movie, but you and I know a storm is coming. Let's dive in, because this girl already knows this entire chaotic mess has Zochen's name written all over it. Inside, Zochen is absolutely tearing through the armed guards. One bald thug tries to raise his weapon, but Zochen slams his head right through the wall before he can even shoot. He bursts right out of the building, briefcase in hand, and sprints into the streets, while angry thugs shout orders to capture him. But as he runs, he realizes he's hitting his limit. His body feels incredibly heavy, and his wounds are draining his strength. Suddenly, a hand grabs his hoodie and yanks him into a dark, narrow alley. It is that same white-haired girl, quickly covering his mouth as the thugs sprint right past their hiding spot.